step away from her or you'll be arrested too, the ICE agent's voice roared, echoing down the narrow street lined with homes and shops. Maria Gonzalez stood frozen, face pale, eyes wide with shock as she clutched her daughter Camila's hand. Grocery bags lay scattered on the pavement, rice, beans, a loaf of bread rolling toward the curb. Camila, only 8, trembled, her voice cracking. "Please, not my mama. She didn't do anything wrong." Across the street, an elderly man fell to his knees, trying to pick up the fallen groceries. A teen snapped video on his phone. Another neighbor shouted, "She's lived here 15 years. This is our block." The agent glowered, zip ties clicking in his hand. "Federal order, stand back." Then a teenage boy, maybe 15, hurled his backpack at the shiny ice van. It hit with a loud thud. "She's not going anywhere," he screamed, voice shaking but fearless. Suddenly, strangers rushed forward, arms locked, bodies formed a human chain. Their faces were determined, angry, defiant. In that moment, the agent's stern command faltered. The street pulsed with unity. And above it all, Maria stood trembling. "Why?" she whispered. A teenage girl near her side replied, voice soft but strong. "Because you've always been here for us. Now, we're here for you." And that sense of shared purpose snapped the moment to black. 15 years back, a young Mexican woman named Maria Gonzalez arrived in California with nothing but hope and a faded suitcase. She barely spoke English, but she had a fierce determination. She worked cleaning houses under the hot sun, scrubbing floors and windows until her hands ached. Dishes, laundry, late-night shifts, anything to make rent. Maria's favorite smile earned her the neighborhood nickname Sunshine Lady. She offered leftover food to families, held Camila's school bake sale, and volunteered at local festivals. Day after day, she woke at 4 a.m. to prepare tamales that she sold from her cart, then delivered extra to a struggling neighbor, Mrs. Ramirez, who lost her husband to illness. She did it all with pride and care. Maria raised Camila alone. Camila was born in the U.S., a studious, curious little girl with bright eyes that mirrored her mother's kindness. Maria taught her to say por favor and gracias, to share, to stand up for others. But the world wasn't always gentle. Camila noticed friends whispering, asking why her mother had a thick accent or dark skin. One day at school, a child grabbed Camila's backpack. "Your mama's illegal. She shouldn't be here." Camila ran home crying. Maria hugged her tight and whispered, "Let them say what they want. We belong because we help, because we love." That became their shield. Over the years, the entire neighborhood, mostly Latino and working-class families, grew to love Maria. She baked bread for potlucks, held Camila when she had nightmares, and helped Mr. Thompson get to his chemotherapy appointments. At the corner taco stand, Carlos waved every morning. At the barbershop, Manny took a few cents off Maria's haircut. At the local bookstore, Deanna let Camila volunteer after school. And when the city faced an eviction crisis, Maria donated most of her savings to families facing homelessness. She once gave up her own rent money to keep another family in their home, trusting the landlord would wait for her later. And he did. That was Maria. In recent months, radios and televisions in every home broadcast ICE sweeps across the state. Reports of arrests at schools, bus stops, even hospitals made Maria's stomach twist with fear. Late at night, she dreamed of cold white vans and strangers in dark uniforms. She asked her friend Rosa to watch Camila after school, just in case. One morning before November, Maria woke to neighbors whispering. ICE was seen checking papers. Heart racing, Maria rushed to the grocery store and snapped up extra bags of rice and beans, just in case they needed to stay hidden. That very morning, as Maria and Camila walked with arms full of groceries, an unmarked black SUV parked too close. Maria's breath caught. She whispered to Camila, "Cash in your pocket. We go straight home, okay?" But Camila shook her head. I want hot chocolate. Maria took a deep breath and nodded. 4 blocks and 2 terrified hearts later, everything changed. As Maria stepped outside the grocery store, a man in plain clothes blocked her path. Maria Gonzalez? He asked, voice clipped. Maria froze. Yes. ICE, you're being detained for unlawful presence. We're just trying to buy food, senor, she sobbed. At that exact moment, something shifted. First, an arm blocked the agent from squeezing Maria's wrist. Then, bodies pressed forward. The barber locked elbows with the teen. The grandmother took the agent's badge number with a loudly recorded phone. As the agent fumbled for his radio, a teenager's defiance rang out. You're not taking her! The crowd kept coming. Middle-aged women, retired teachers, children, all linked hands to form a protective shield. The agent barked into his radio. Back up, force is needed. More agents arrived, but every step forward by them meant 2 steps back from the neighbors. You want to arrest us? Arrest us all, one man shouted. That's where chapter 1 ends. Maria's eyes looked around at the faces. People who once borrowed sugar from her, who watched her child grow. She whispered, I didn't know love could look like this. Camila squeezed her hand and said, Mama, they're like family. Camila's words carried hope. The ICE agent tightened his grip and spoke into his radio again. Would the arrival of more ICE fill the street with fear? Or will the neighbors stand firm, risking their freedom for one mother and child? The air was thick with tension. Sirens wailed faintly in the distance. Backup. The ICE van sat idle, its engine humming like a warning. Uniformed agents flanked Maria, their hands twitching near their utility belts. But so did the people. By now, more than 40 neighbors had poured into the street. Teens in hoodies, mothers with strollers, fathers carrying toddlers. A few were still in pajamas. No one cared. Everyone came. You're not taking her. Leave Maria alone. We got cameras. We got rights. From the rooftop above the bodega, 2 young men held phones high, live streaming. The chat flew by with, Yo, this ICE raid wild. Protect her. She our mama too. Even strangers watching from across the country started to take sides. A local activist, Jamal, elbowed his way to the front. He'd organized neighborhood food drives with Maria. He stood tall and called out, This woman is the heartbeat of our block. You want to take someone? Take me first. The crowd roared in agreement. An ICE officer tried stepping forward again, but this time a middle school teacher stepped between them, tears in her eyes. She cooks food for every family that loses someone. She picked me up from the hospital when no one else would. You're not doing this. Phones flashed. A viral tweet later said, She wasn't a politician. She wasn't rich. She was just good. That was enough to make a nation stand up. A young news reporter, eyes wide behind her glasses, had arrived by chance to cover a city council budget meeting, but her instincts kicked in fast. She grabbed her mic. We are live in Eastside, California, where an immigrant mother of 15 years faces deportation. The community has now formed a peaceful blockade. The camera turned to Maria, who held Camila close and whispered, Don't be afraid, mi amor. Whatever happens, you're never alone. By now, the ICE supervisor had shown up, a man with a shaved head and eyes like cold steel. He surveyed the street with impatience. He walked up to Maria. You are undocumented. You are subject to removal. Maria nodded softly. I know. Then let's not make this harder than it has to be. She looked around. These people, some she barely knew, stood between her and the end of everything she had built. Maria squared her shoulders. I won't run, but I won't go quietly either." The ICE supervisor scoffed, then turned to the crowd. "Interfering with a federal operation is a crime. You all could be arrested." A grandmother raised her cane. "Then you'll need more vans." Someone started singing. It was soft at first, just a teenage girl in a hijab. Her voice floated like smoke. "Ain't gonna let nobody turn me round." Then others joined in. The barber, the teacher, Jamal, even Camila sang. The ICE agents didn't know what to do. They stood frozen, unsure how to respond to dozens of people singing a civil rights anthem while holding hands. And then a priest arrived from the neighborhood church. He carried a Bible and walked straight into the crowd. "This is holy ground," he declared, "and what you are doing is unjust." An older ICE agent hesitated. His grip on his zip tie slackened. He looked down at Camila, eyes full of fear, and blinked hard, as if waking up. "This don't feel right," he muttered to his partner. Back at ICE headquarters, phones were ringing off the hook. News coverage was spreading. Hashtags were trending. Hashtag stand with Maria. Hashtag not one more. Hashtag this is our mama. A local congresswoman, alerted by her team, tweeted, "This is outrageous. Maria Gonzalez is the backbone of her community. We are demanding immediate halt of ICE action." Within minutes, a call came in to the field commander's radio. "Stand down. Do not escalate. Media is live. HQ is re-evaluating this target." The ICE supervisor cursed under his breath. He turned to his team. "We're leaving." Gasps rang out. Cheers followed. Someone shouted, "You hear that, Mama? You're staying!" Maria's knees buckled. Camila caught her mother's face in her hands. "It's okay. It's okay, Mama." The ICE agents climbed into their vans and backed out slowly, flanked. The next morning, Maria stood in front of her kitchen window, staring out at the same street where everything had happened the night before. It was quiet now. No ICE vans, no shouting, just the sound of birds and the scent of fresh tortillas warming on the stove. Camila sat at the small table, working on a drawing with crayons. It was a picture of Maria standing in front of a big crowd with hearts all around her. Maria's eyes filled with tears as she looked at it. "I made you a superhero," Camila said softly. Maria smiled and kissed her forehead. "You're the real hero, mi amor." A knock came at the door. Maria's heart jumped. For a moment, she froze, afraid that everything they had stopped yesterday would come crashing back today. But when she opened the door, it was Jamal, and behind him stood people from the neighborhood, each holding something in their hands. Some brought groceries, others held legal papers. One woman, who barely spoke English, handed Maria an envelope full of cash. "It's from all of us," she whispered, "for lawyer." Maria blinked, overwhelmed. "You don't have to." "We want to," Jamal said. "You've taken care of us for years. Now it's our turn." The living room slowly filled again. People sat on the floor, the couch, even the stairs. One of the local lawyers walked in, sleeves rolled up, holding a folder. "We're filing for special status today," he said, "and we've got news. The footage from last night, it's everywhere. Even a senator tweeted about it." Maria covered her mouth. She couldn't believe it. Just 24 hours ago, she thought her life was over. Now, she had a chance to stay, maybe even for good. But the fight wasn't over. Later that week, Maria was called in for an official hearing. She sat in a room with cold walls and serious faces. Her lawyer spoke calmly. ICE representatives asked tough questions. At times, Maria felt like she was drowning in fear again. But every time she looked at Camila in the corner, holding her little drawing, she found strength. The judge glanced through the papers, then finally looked up. "You have no criminal history," he said slowly. "You've lived here peacefully for over a decade. You're raising a U.S. citizen. You've served your community. The crowd that defended you speaks volumes." Maria held her breath. "I will be recommending deferred action. This court sees no reason to continue deportation proceedings at this time." Maria didn't understand all the words, but she understood one thing. She was safe. For now. Outside the building, reporters swarmed her. Cameras flashed, microphones pushed forward. A woman from a national network asked, "Maria, how do you feel knowing your neighbor saved you?" Maria looked directly into the camera. "They didn't just save me," she said. "They saved my daughter. They saved our future. I came here with nothing but hope, and I stayed because I found family." That night, the block threw a party. Not fancy, not loud, but full of love. Neighbors brought food, music played from someone's phone, and people danced in the street. Camila ran through the crowd laughing, her drawing now taped proudly to the side of the bodega window. At one point, Maria stood alone near the edge of the street, looking up at the stars. Jamal walked over quietly. "You're not alone anymore," he said. "I never was," she whispered. "I just didn't know it." And for the first time in many, many nights, Maria slept without fear. The community had stood up, not just for one woman, but for what was right. They reminded the world that kindness is louder than sirens, and love can stop even the coldest hands.